Okay, 3, 3. What we're going to be talking about is intercepts. Now, intercepts are the places where a line crosses the axes. So this would be your y-intercept, because this is your y, and this would be your x-intercept, because that is your x. So if we did have a line that crossed in those two places, I'm just going to make a line now. Okay, so now we have a line, and the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. So the x-intercept crosses the x-axis. Now, in your ordered pair, y is 0. Because, as you can see, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be 6, 0. We don't want to go up or down, so our y is 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one would be 0, 8. So our y-intercept, which I'm abbreviating int, crosses the y-axis, and its ordered pair is 0 wherever it crosses. So x is 0. Okay? So our x-intercept crosses the x-axis, something 0. Y is always 0. Y-intercept crosses the y-axis, x is always 0. Okay, so it's where it crosses. So now we're going to talk about finding the y-intercept in an equation and using the intercepts to graph an equation. Okay, so yesterday I did not tell you what standard form looked like. Standard form of an equation is ax plus by equals c. So this is some number, this is some number, and this is some number, and these are the variables x and y. So when we're doing that, and you need to find the intercepts, what we're actually going to do is substitute those things and solve. So if we're going to find the intercepts and graph the line of the equation, x minus 3y equals 6. Okay, so that's in standard form. Our coefficient on x is 1. Our coefficient on b is negative 3, and then c is 6. So we need to figure out what is our x-intercept, what is our y-intercept, and then since 2 points determine a line, we can then draw our line, we can plot our line on a graph. So if we are finding the x-intercept, then y equals 0. So we go back to the original equation and we substitute. And we're going to substitute 0 for y. So x minus 0 times y equals 6. So then we solve. This is what we've been doing. So, oops, x minus 0 equals 6. Well, x minus 0 is just x equals 6. So now we have the point. We have the point here, 6, because our x and our y is 0. So there is one intercept. So we come back over here to our graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0. So 6, 0 is that intercept. So we have graphed our x-intercept. But that's not enough. There are an infinite number of points that go through, an infinite number of lines that go through that point. So now what we're going to do is we need to take this same equation and we need to find our y-intercept. So for our y-intercept, x equals 0. So again, x minus 3y equals 6. We need to substitute 0 in for x. So 0 minus 3y equals 6. All right? 0 minus 3y is going to give us negative 3y equals 6. I need to divide by 3, divide by negative 3. That leaves me with y equals negative 2. So now we know that for this intercept, our x is 0 and our y is negative 2. So we go back over to our graph. 0, no left and right, only up and down. 1, 2. So 0, negative 2 is our intercept. So then we take our straight edge. Line that baby up. This will be much more, it is very important that you get this right. Draw our line. And the reason it's important is just to make sure, because 3 points is the best way to determine a line. So let's check. It appears that I go through the point right here. 1, 2, 3, 1. So 3, negative 1. So let's check it. How do we check it? Because you always want to check and see, is that right? So we're going to use the point 3, 1, and this is like checking the solution like we did yesterday. So x minus 3y equals 6. X is 3. 3 minus 3 times 1 equals 6. 3 minus 3 equals 6. 0 equals 6 is not true. So what does that tell me? That tells me that my fat line over here is not quite right, and I can see that because it doesn't quite go through here. So that point isn't exactly on the line, okay? So that's why. You always want to check and see, did I cross at an exact spot, and is my line right? Okay, so that's what we're doing. That's why we check. So you always want to check a point. So let's see here. Let me see. I'll get another example. Oh, you guys, I did it wrong because it's negative 1. You let me do it wrong. So if this is negative 1 times negative 1, then this becomes 3 plus 3, and 6 does equal 6. So I was right, actually. So that's why we watch our signs. That's why we copy everything down. That's why we double check. So 3, negative 1 is on the line. So my line wasn't as far off as I thought it was. All right. So always make sure you copy down your points well, or write your points correctly. 3, 1 was not even close to being on my line. And I went over and wrote it down 3, 1, and then when I substituted it in, it was incorrect. All right, so now for another one that we can check here. Let's do another graph. All right. Erase standard form. Erase my notes over here. Erase my graph. All right, so another equation. We're going to get another equation here. (40x plus 3y equals negative 120. Eek! That one seems a little crazy, but let's find our intercept. So our x-intercept, something comma 0. So 40x plus 3 times 0, that's where our 0 goes, equals negative 120. 40x plus 0 equals negative 120. 40x equals negative 120. Divide by 40. X equals negative 3. So, negative 3. So go over here. Negative 3, 0 means I'm going to move to the left 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to go anywhere else. So there's my x-intercept. Now for my y-intercept. So in my y-intercept, we know it's 0, comma something. My x equals 0. So going back to that, we have 40 times 0. Dropped my marker. Plus 3y equals negative 120. So this becomes 0 plus 3y equals negative 120. That's 3y equals negative 120. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Y equals negative 40. I have a problem. My graph does not go to negative 40. So, it would be 0, negative 40. So it would be all the way down about, down to there. Okay? But we can find them and we can label them. So you can't just find your intercept and know that that's what you're going to do. So another example. And sometimes there's not enough information. Like that did us no good. So let me show you another situation where it might not work and where you might need a table. So this is solving for a variable. We've been doing this. We've been solving for a variable. It's just that instead of only 1 in the equation, we have 2, and that's not difficult. We can do it. You just got to keep track of everything. 5x plus, try that again, 5x minus 2y equals 0. Okay, so if x equals 0, that's my y-intercept. So 5 times my y-intercept of 0, right there, minus 2y equals 0. 5 times 0 is 0, minus 2y equals 0, minus 2y equals 0. Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, y equals 0. So 0, 0. Okay? 0, 0. Erase that dot. All right, let's solve for my x-intercept. So my x-intercept, my y is going to be 0. So 5x minus 2 times 0 equals 0. 5x minus 0 equals 0. 5x equals 0. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. X equals 0. 0, 0. 0, 0. This is one of those situations where I don't have enough information here to plot a line. I can't graph a line because there are an infinite number of lines that will go through, that will pass through the origin of this rectangular plane. So this is where you then go back to this, x and y. We know it's 0, 0. Let's try 1. So we go back to this. 5x minus 2y equals 0. So if x is 1, 5 times 1 minus 2y equals 0. 5 minus 2y equals 0. Subtract 5. Negative 2y equals negative 5. Divide by negative 2. Y equals positive 5 over 2, which is 2.5. Okay, so 1, 2.5. I can graph 2.5. That's pretty easy. So 1, 1, 2.5. That puts it right there. 2 points do determine a line, but it's better to have 3. So we're going to pick another point, and I'm actually going to pick a negative just because I have one kind of to this side in quadrant 1 or 4, and I want one that's going to be over here in quadrant 2 or 3. Okay, so I'm gonna go with -1 just to see what happens. It should be similar to this one because 1, -1 should be about the same. So 5 times -1 minus 2y equals 0. -5 minus 2y equals 0. Plus 5, -2y, oops, sorry, equals 5. Divide by -2, divide by -2, y, sorry, got too close to the board, equals -5/2, which is -2.5. Now, it's not always going to work out that your 1 and your -1 are going to be opposites, okay? So -1, 1, 2.5. So now I have 3 points. 3 points is better to determine a line. 5 points is even better to make sure you've got everything lined up. Get my straight edge. Make sure I'm going through the origin. Make sure I'm going through my halves. Just like that. Put my arrows on my line, or it's a line segment. Okay, so this is the line 5x minus 2y equals 0. Okay, so it's not difficult. You put x for your x-intercept, you put 0 in for y, you substitute 0 for y. For your y-intercept, you substitute 0 for x, and you solve. If you happen to get the same point, you could get 1, 1. Well, again, if you got 1, 1, not 0, 0, only getting 1 point does not give you enough information to graph a line, okay? Now, a couple special cases that you need to think about here. So it's possible that you have a linear equation in one variable that you need to graph. Well, how are you going to go about doing that? Excuse me. A linear equation in one variable, such as, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I know you guys can't see them, but that's fine. That is the wrong page. This page. All right. What happens if we have x equals -2? Well, x equals -2. Well, that's my intercept. That's pretty easy. 0, -2. But what that tells me is for any y, so it doesn't matter what y is, x has to be -2. X has to be -2. Y doesn't matter. If y doesn't matter, it's a vertical line. Okay? Any y will fall on this line. X equals -2. All right? So if your linear equation in one variable is x equals, it's a vertical line. Okay, so after your vertical line, what you need to do is you need to check and see if y equals, what happens if we have a linear equation in one variable that's y. So if I have y equals, let me use black here so we have a different color. Y equals 7, that means that no matter what, y equals 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Of course, it's right where I wrote this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So no matter what, y equals 7. If y is going to equal 7, no matter what, then we have a straight line and it's horizontal because my y, oh, I can't see that high. So we're going to hope that this is right. All right, draw your arrows. So y equals 7, okay? So if it is y equals 7, we know it's horizontal. Y has to be 7. Horizontal, it helps if I can spell horizontal line. So when you have a line in one variable, you need to remember that if all you're given is x, it always has to be 2, which is going to make it straight up and down because that 2 can't move, okay? If you're given y is equal to a number, no other variable, then you know that it's horizontal. Y can't move. Y has to be at whatever that number is, and that means it's a horizontal line, okay? And I think that is everything you need to be able to do your homework. Let me look real quick at your homework. I don't have my, let me check here. Okay, your homework is, and you need to find your vertical equation, or you need to find your horizontal and vertical intercepts. So for each one of these, you're going to find your intercepts and graph the line. Okay, you will be getting graph paper. Mrs. Brandt will have graph paper to give to you. There are 16 graphs. Now, if you think you have room to do your work on the graph paper to find those intercepts, that's fine. If you want to do your work on a separate sheet of paper, that is also fine. But remember that I'm going to want to see your work when it comes time to check and test on this. Showing your work is going to be part of it. Just giving me an answer of an ordered pair is not going to be enough, okay? So what you need to do is page, and this is on Canvas, and there are Khan Academy links. Page 231, I think. Yep. 63 through 78 all. Okay, 63 through 78 all. It's on Canvas. There are additional links on Canvas. You can always get a pair of headphones. You guys are carrying them around anyway. Get a pair of headphones, plug them in, get your Chromebook out, go to the Canvas page, go to 3.3, and then graph those lines. Look at those Khan Academy links because they are there. So 3.3, we will go over these on Wednesday. Wednesday's a half day, so classes are a little bit shorter. But we should be able to get through this. I don't know that we'll go on to 3.4. It'll just kind of depend on where you guys think you are with the graphs and if you need more help with them. Okay? Stop recording.